Are any of us saying that we're going to stop working with these newspapers or TV channels or magazines that do paid news? They're not. So I think, we need to keep that in mind, that this is not the first time it's happened. It's happened, in the past as well. Nobody's going to be condoning what Veer did or what Barkha did, assuming that what is being said is right. We've been told that Veer took dictation from Neera Radia on one side of what he should be writing on gas. Now, it's very possible that in the same way that Vinod is talking about, Veer took dictation from the Anil Ambani side and finally decided that, listen, I think the Mukesh Ambani one makes more sense. I don't know, maybe that's a possibility. But I think the larger point here that we have to make is when we are condemning journalists, in fact I think Vinod made this point but didn't stress on it, is that don't overplay this whole thing. Let's understand that if we have a CAG report today, if Mr. Raja has been asked to go, if we are talking about cancelling those licenses, this is all 100% got to do with the press. There is not one thing in the CAG report which has not been reported by journalists, reporters or columnists or whatever in the last 3 years. This one thing which the CAG is talking about is something which we wrote about 2 years ago. I think the fact that the CAG report was put out there was put because journalists were writing about every day. So when we are saying that we've got black sheep or black swan in this case, let's understand that this is our scam. We broke it. So we may have a few journalists who are taking, notes, perhaps even taking money, we don't know. But we guys did it. So while there is a problem of journalists being corrupt or being influenced unduly, etc., there are enough journalists out there who are not being influenced, and we're looking at that proportion. I think the proportion of journalists who are not on the take is pretty high. A lot of the journalists being questioned, like somebody being talked about, people saying that that I can fix this judgment for you and all that. These are not new journalists. These are journalists who've been there for decades. So to say that this is a new problem, I think that's just completely missing the point. What else? I think there's this issue here. There are two things. One is that when we're talking, I think some of us have actually missed the story while we've been focusing on the journalists. I think a very, very important part of the story, and that is why I think lobbying needs to be legalized. I think that's why lobbying needs to be codified. A very, very important, see, if you look at, Barkha says, for example, that I'll take this message to so-and-so. But nobody's been able to point to what Barkha did in her television program, which is what she has to be judged by. Nobody can show a part that, okay, this is where Barkha is taking Neera's line. So maybe Barkha's talking crap to Neera, maybe she's making a fool of her, I don't know what. Maybe it's a confidence trick. But you can't prove that Barkha did anything on her program to actually be classified as doing a favor to Neera. But what we can see very clearly, and I think this is a serious problem, when you have Mr. N.K. Singh, who is a member of parliament, telling Neera Radia that, this Arun Shourie chap, when he opens the discussion, he's going to start commenting on this tax break for your client. He's going to set the agenda because this stupid moron is going to say that we should not have this tax break. And once Arun Shourie gives an argument, it becomes very difficult for the other people to turn it around. So eventually what it means that the entire BJP argument will be along the lines of opposing a tax break for the Ambanis. Now none of us noticed this. Very few people talked about it. Yeah, and they changed the speaker. Now if for example you had codified laws, I think a codified law would say, for example, that whenever a lobbyist has to say who she or he has been talking to.